Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Unit 3, Lesson 1. We're on Part 2, and we're talking about comparisons, specifically comparisons using whole numbers and comparisons using fractions, and kind of understanding what that means. We're using unit fractions right now, so that means there's always one part that we're choosing, but we can having an opportunity to see the big difference between multiplying by a whole number and multiplying by a fraction. So let's start. You can see I made a pan of brownies. So you can see that actually before we got started with this video, my family already got after the brownies. So just going to say that right out. So we are going to do a comparison of brownies, and I get one piece. So I'm going to show you that. I'm going to take one piece of brownie. So here we go. Here is my one brownie. Whoa, can't get it off. There's my one brownie. Now, you can see Britton in the background. He's getting pretty excited because he gets 6 times as many brownies. So you can be thinking what that would be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 times as many brownies. Yikes! Nice. And there's his happy brownie dance. Uh-oh. But the bad news for William Grayson, because he gets 1/6 times a brownie. Remember, you take out the word times there too. It's 1/6 of, and groups of, remember, is times. So it's 1/6 of a brownie. So here's the bad news. There's one brownie, but what are we going to have to do to that one brownie? I hope you're thinking we're going to have to cut it in 6 pieces. So there's half. Now there's all right, there it is. Those are supposed to be equal pieces. They're not quite equal. You got to kind of pretend those are equal. And how many does he get of that? Not that piece. 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 He gets, whoops, I'm going to cut that. He gets 1 out of 6 pieces. All right, William Grayson, come and take your 1/6 of a brownie. Come on. Here he comes. Sad face. Whoops. Well, I can't find him. Well, he was going to give a sad face, but I couldn't find him with the camera. That was a little messed up. So he got 1/6 of a brownie. I got the whole thing. You remember the plate of brownies Britton got with 6 brownies on it. And here are all the rest of the pieces. William Grayson only got 1/6 of a brownie. Sad face. Okay, so I got 1 brownie. Britton got 6 times as many. He got 6 brownies. William Grayson got 1/6 of a brownie. So you can see how that makes a big difference when you're multiplying by a fraction. 1/6 of something is a lot smaller than 6 times that. So the other way we could think about this is Britton had 6 times how much I had, or think about this too. I had 1/6 of the brownies he had. Is that true? It is. He had 6 brownies and I had 1. So he had 6 times as much as I did, and I had 1 out of 6. He had 6 brownies and I had 1. So I had 1/6 of what he had. So I had 1/6 of what Britton had, and William Grayson had 1/6 of what I had. That's how fractions work, and we're thinking about multiplying and comparisons. Comparisons with multiplication, with whole numbers and fractions. That's what we're doing. We don't always, the math isn't always right easily to think about because we're not using regular math terms. We're talking about how many more times something is, or how many fewer times, or how much less, or how much more. And that can get a little tricky. So let's try a couple more. Okay, let's do another example. So in this example, we're talking about the number of dice. And I just have them on plates because it's just easier to see than on the table. We love dice at our house because there's so many fun games you can play with dice, including things like practicing math facts. But there's also just a lot of fun dice games. And so there's a lot of kind of different cool dice. You may have seen that I have some of these like giant ones at school, and some that are like addition or subtraction or even fraction dice. So there's just a lot of cool dice. So we're going to say I have 5 dice. William Grayson has 5 times as many dice as I do, which is probably actually true because he loves dice too. How many dice does he have? Well, I hope you said if it's 5 times as many as the school brood, 5 times 5 would be 25. So let's do that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. All right, that's 5 times as many dice as I have here. So this is William Grayson's plate with 25 dice. Now Britton doesn't have 5 times as many as me. He has 1/5 as many as me. What would 1/5 of a group of 5 be? Means we take the 5 and we cut it into 5 pieces because it's fifths. We cut it into 5 and we take one of them. How many dice does Britton have? I hope you said 1. He's got 1 little lonely die. Let's look at that as numbers. Okay, so me, I had 5 dice. William Grayson had 25 dice. Britton has 1 die. Incidentally, that's the singular. Dice is actually plural. So if you only have 1, it's called a die. So he's got 1 die. So when we're talking about that in terms of using our comparison language, William Grayson has 5 times as many dice as me, because 5 times 5 is 25. Now this is the backwards way of thinking of it. I have 1/5 as many dice as William Grayson does, because 5 is 1 out of 5 chunks that make 25. So 25, I have 1/5 of the dice he has, because if we took his dice and we cut them into 5 sections, it's a little hard because they want to roll around. There we go. If we made them into 5 groups, which you can't see that, if we made them into 5 equal groups, we're cutting them in fifths. So 5 equal groups, and 1 of those fifths is 5 dice, and that's what I have. So he has 5 times as many as I do. I have 1/5 as many as he does. Okay, one more example to end our day today. So we're talking about cans of soup. We went to the store and we bought 2 cans of chicken noodle and we bought 6 cans of tomato. So we're going to talk about the relationship. We're going to compare the chicken noodle amount of chicken noodle to the amount of tomato. So we have 2 compared to 6. So what's the kind of comparison language using times or like as in a fraction we might say of a group of. So either how many groups of or how many of a group of. What kind of language could we use to compare these two? It's okay to pause the video and think a minute. Let's take a look. We've got 2 cans of chicken noodle. We've got 6 cans of tomato. So we have 3 times as much tomato soup as chicken noodle. Does that make sense? Because we've got 2 chicken noodles, but look, 1, 2, 3 times as much tomato. So we've got 3 times as much tomato as chicken noodle soup. And how we know that is we just look, it would take 3 of these groups. We have 1 of them, but we would need 3 to have the same. So there's 3 times as much tomato as there is chicken noodle. What about going back the other way? There's 1/3 as much chicken noodle as there is tomato. That means we're looking at the tomato and we're saying, oh, the chicken noodle only takes up 1/3 of the group because there's 1, 2, 3, and it only covers 1/3. So there's 1/3 as much chicken noodle, and there are 3 times as much tomato. Good luck with today's lesson. We'll see you next time. Bye.